Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the Highwire Improv YouTube channel. Once again, on this wonderful Wednesday evening, Eastern Time, early evening Pacific Time, very late overnight hours in Europe, and morning in Asia, and other times, other parts of the world. If you're in Antarctica, I don't know how time zones work there. It might be any of the 24 hours. Who knows? But if you're here, we're glad you're here. We're here to do our semi-regular, aspirationally weekly panel discussion called Walking the Talk here on Highwire Improv, and we've been fortunate enough to have some great guests over the past few months, and today is no exception. We have three wonderful individuals, officially, unofficially, in numerous ways affiliated with the Queen City comedy community. We were spoiled this week. We've had two sessions with Queen City Comedy. This is the second of two. Go back on YouTube and watch the first one when Carla reached out and asked to do one of these. I was excited, and then she said, "Well, I have 6 people who want to talk," so we had to do 2 sessions. We're really excited about it, and for those who don't know, this is our discussion program where we kind of dive into the details and the specifics of how to run improv communities, run theaters, perform, teach, anything having to do with improv in this currently mostly online world, but in the physical world soon as well, and how to do it better, how to do it in more safe, inclusive, supportive, equitable way. And, we're learning from each other, and hopefully this time and space is helpful for that. So that's enough about me and this program. Let's get our panel out for today. Come on out, everyone. Really excited to have you here. Hello. Let's all wave. Yes. Oh, dramatic drinking.
Kale.
Very nice. Very nice. This is
morning talk show vibe.
Very, very good. So we're all, a year into online, we're all just have the mannerisms and the motions are down. I know. Sorry if that was a hard realization. I apologize.
Wow, to hear you say it out loud.
Yeah, the Facebook memories this month are going to be real tough.
No.
1 year ago today, I know I'm 3 days away from my last in-person thing, so I'm preparing myself for that. But we'll talk a little bit about that and what both online and the future of online and in person looks like. But before we do, let's meet each of you. Love to hear just a little bit of an introduction for each of you, for the community who may know you already, may not know you already. And if I want to start with you, Brenna.
Cool. Hi, my name is Brenna Judkins. I am an improviser and artist from San Diego, California in the United States. I work with Queen City Comedy. I also do some things independently under my page, Brenna Judkins Improviser. I'm having a good time online. I'm having fun.
It's good. Excellent. Glad to hear it. That's what we're trying to do here, right? So that's wonderful. Thank you for being here. And how about you, Kale?
Well, no, I think I froze.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, can you see me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm frozen.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I'll just assume that you're all animated then. Oh, you're dancing. Oh no.
This is
How you frozen?
the way. Now he realized he was frozen before we did.
Yeah.
I know.
He can see into the future. We've been online so long that Kale can now jump through time, literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guys, it's me. It's Kale from an hour from now. Don't do the interview.
Oh, no.
Do the interview.
Okay.
The robots are coming. The robots are coming. Okay, I'm sorry.
Can you imagine if that was it? If that was the thing that finally broke down AI and it was this interview that caused the downfall of the man-machine relationship.
I blame George.
One too many.
Always my fault, Brenna.
It is your fault.
Oh my goodness.
I apologize. Can I take 2?
Please, yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Hi, Kel Evans, Queen City Comedy. Thanks for having me. So great to be here with the Highwire folks.
Yeah.
I'm by day, I do corporate training and stuff like that. And in the evening, do improv. I've been doing it for several years with Charlotte Comedy Theater out here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Performing now with the Foxes and Improv Charlotte and Background Noise, a couple other groups. And about 4 years ago, founded Queen City Comedy as a way for all the different groups and theaters that were in Charlotte to work together and collaborate more and kind of amplify what we were doing. The mission was to kind of half the work that nobody wanted to do and then multiply the opportunities that everybody wanted. So we've done festivals for the Charlotte market for we did 3 of them, and we skipped the one last year.
Yeah.
This year, our fingers are crossed.
Yeah.
Partnered with the Comedy Zone, which is the largest chain of theaters. It's based here in comedy clubs in the U.S. Based here in Charlotte, and a local theater company to do our big Queen City Comedy Experience each year. And then last year, when things shut down, we said we'll go online. We'll do it, and discovered a whole new world, including Aladdin and Jasmine here. I'll let them decide which ones.
Yeah, you can rename yourselves if you choose. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. And that brings us to George.
Hi, everybody. First of all, thank you, Barry, for having us here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to meet you. I'm George, and I'm from Manila, Philippines. And the time now is 9:35 in the morning.
Nice.
I've been doing improv for 3 years now. And I'm with Queen City Comedy's global team called Ridgely.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad to stumble upon Queen City Comedy during this time. Last year, because they're one of the first ones that I came across when I started looking for improv stuff online. And I'm doing a lot of stuff with them these days.
Excellent. Yes, and thank you all for joining us. I'm really excited. It's interesting. Oh, am I frozen now?
Not anymore.
It looks like you're good.
Okay, good. I saw both. I can't take a lot of credit. I saw an eyebrow raise, but I also saw your internet connection is unstable, which is the error message of 2020 and 2021. So, but yeah, like I love that we have obviously talking about Queen City Comedy, which is an organization located in one city, but we've got 3 people from 3 different cities here to talk about it. And I think on Monday when we had the other 3 folks, we had 3 people from 3 different cities, and that's a really interesting new thing. Like both we've seen some organizations form online initially, like Socially Distant Improv, for example, but also seen some previously brick and mortar organizations really dive in and embrace the online world and the kind of connection of communities that it can facilitate. So I guess the first thing I'll bring up as a topic of conversation is hopefully in the next some number of months, organizations are going to be able to start doing things in person again. And I'm curious, what do you think you'll want to keep from the last year, whether that's continuing to do online shows, whether it's maintaining certain connections with people outside the city. What are you hoping sticks around as people start to maybe revert back to some of their old habits and behaviors of working within their own city?
Who wants to answer?
I'll go first. It's been really cool for us to see. We have 3, soon to be 4 groups that are all made up of people from across the globe.
Yeah.
And just this weekend at one of the rehearsals, they got excited talking about being able to come together. And so the first time they would meet each other in person. So, we've loved the festivals that we've done here in Charlotte, but I really love the idea of being able to host Brenna and George there. And we've talked with other groups like Socially Distant and Improv MKE about maybe going city to city and meeting up once we're finally able to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, I'm excited about the chance to get on stage again and get in front of audiences in person again, but the online improv has really been a blessing, and the online community that we found is something I treasure and hope that we're able to keep and maintain and sustain.
Well, for me, let's go ahead.
No.
Jafar.
Jafar.
Trap sprung. All right. No.
All right, for me, I definitely miss doing improv face to face and being on stage. And I know that everybody will agree that they feel the same way. And so when that happens, I will definitely do a lot of that too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to lose this thing that we have right now, where we are able to gather online from different places, have this conversation right now like we're having.
Yeah.
And being able to improvise and collaborate with people from all over the world. So when the time comes that we're able to do face-to-face again, I still want to keep maybe not the same amount, but a certain amount of online improv still. Because even if there are festivals going on, I cannot go to each one of them.
Right.
Maybe I can go to one or two in a year. But I want to be able to continue to connect with people that I've already connected with. I mean, I'm even closer now to people online, improv people who I haven't met compared to the people that I've met before. And it's funny because my Facebook page now, when I browse improv, it's all about improv stuff. And then the people that that pops up are people that are doing improv. So my life, improv now. So I still want to keep, and I hope there will still be online improv that will continue to be done, despite when we go back to the way it was before. I really hope, and I hope maybe in shows in the future we can do some hybrid stuff where I can be, performing with Kale on a screen or something. Brenna and I could do that.
Yeah.
I'm already working on a you're familiar with the 2-pack hologram? We're doing a George hologram. We're going to have it so that George is going to be in the mask, but he's going to be on stage with us here in Charlotte.
Oh, I'm going to book my tickets. It's fantastic.
Did I say 2-pack or did I say 2-pack?
You said 2-pack.
Oh,
you did.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. My whiteness is showing. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God. No. I have a couple things.
Yeah.
I think one, improv going online opened up improv's accessibility to so many people.
Yeah.
And I am not just saying like people from different countries. I'm talking about people who have a hard time leaving their house, people who have mobility issues, people who have unseen conditions. And now, especially with so many people having gotten COVID, I know quite a few improvisers who've gotten COVID and they're tired and they don't feel well and they do have to recover. But I think online improv would have been maybe one of the only options for them to still participate. So it's kind of an interesting in real time benefit of it. The other thing is that since so many people are connected now, and so many people are sharing information about what works for them, about what helps their theater or their organization or their group to function. And I think that's invaluable because a lot of the time when I started improv, it felt like improv was like this secret and like the theater holds all the keys to the secret. Each key costs $250 give or take, and you can buy books and stuff and you can go to workshops, but like online was one of the only places that I've ever found like inclusion and equity scholarships and
Right.
opportunities. It's one of the only places that I've seen people make a concerted effort to have more inclusive groups or more inclusive ways of operating. So I think in a lot of ways it's been really beneficial to improv as a whole and to the improv community as a whole, because now it feels so much
Yeah.
smaller. It used to feel so disparate before, and now there's all these little like spider webs connecting everybody. And I feel like wherever you go do improv now, you'll probably know somebody. You can play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon with yourself
Yeah.
about it, which is really, really nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think like the last year, with everybody having to go online, means this weird mysticism of what improv is like in other cities is
Yeah.
just is evaporated, and and that's so beneficial on a bunch of levels. One of the Highwire folks was commenting about how he used to think the best improvisers had to be in LA, Chicago, or New York.
Mhm.
And no, those are just improvisers who happen to live in LA, Chicago, or New York. And I think that was a comment that Michelle Gilliam, who runs improv at MKE, commented on that post. And everyone's seen it now. Everyone has kind of seen what the best theaters in terms of inclusion or the best theaters in terms of tech or whatever can do. And it's going to be really hard to forget that, which I think is really, really beneficial to everyone. And then on the inclusion point too, like the fact that folks can join groups at different times. Improv has been very traditionally like 7 to 10 p.m. on weekdays for rehearsals, and 7 to 10 p.m. for shows on weeknights, and that excludes a lot of people. And for someone who works a night shift job to be able to take a class with Hoopla in the UK at 11 a.m. is just remarkable, and hopefully a lot of that continues beyond this. So that's really exciting.
And also, how could you ever have taken that Hoopla class if these things didn't go online?
Right.
I've been able to take classes with all sorts of different theaters just because they're online now, and it's like, holy crap. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's beneficial to everyone, and it's kind of it feels a little silly that we weren't doing it before.
Right.
Really
right?
does.
Because it's an access for the improv companies. They have access to 100 times as many students, which is good for them, and for the students, they have access to 100 times as many different class offerings, which just seems like it's a win for everybody. And I really hope people invest in either keeping online courses going or having kind of the AV equipment to support bringing a remote instructor to a physical space, which I think is going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have offered now a musical improv class with Laura Hall.
Yeah.
We got a class coming up with Paul Valancourt.
Yeah.
And that would never have even crossed my mind as a potential before. But, now it's not only a reality, it's very doable, very accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. And just cutting down the travel costs, like everything from festivals to guest instructors and all that type of stuff it's just way more possible in a way that it wasn't before. Especially for kind of extending beyond the myopic view of the United States as improv, and even if people were aware or wanted to, going to the Philippines or Japan or India to do something was just it's a $200 class and $5,000 to fly, spend a week in a hotel, like just not just so much.
Well, we did. You're frozen a little bit there too, so hopefully it's not me. But we did a class with Kevin McDonald from the Kids in the Hall, a sketch class that was 5 weeks. We come back, read this same sketch. He would give you feedback, you'd rewrite it, and they performed it at the end. And that's something that even in the before times, right? You maybe could take a class with Kevin McDonald, but you weren't going to get that kind of experience. That's
Right.
only something that you can do virtually. And so it's opened up a whole new world.
Yeah.
The other thing it lets you do is follow instructors. Because if you
Mm.
wanted to keep taking classes with Kevin McDonald, and Kevin McDonald only comes through your town like maybe once every 2 years or so,
Yeah.
you're never gonna. And even then, if you get a ticket, like that's going to be a highly competitive ticket. But now you can
Yeah.
follow people and be like, "Crap, I missed it. I'll do it next month."
Hmm. Nice. I'm curious what it's been like for you, George, in terms of the timing of everything. I'm aware it's 9:50 now in the morning. Just first, like what is the best time for you creatively? Like when do you feel like your like prime improv hours are?
Well, before it was 7 to 10. Something happened. It's like 24/7.
Yeah.
Every single day. My time doesn't matter anymore. Sometimes I do improv at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Wow.
Because I really want to be, for example, be with the people that are scheduled on that day.
Yeah.
So I just try to manage my time and try to get sleep still. But I listen to my body. If my body says you'll have energy, then go for it. If your body says rest now, you need to relax, and then that's what I do. So, like, time zones are difficult, but I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
Let me say that I've not seen an off schedule George. Like every time he shows up, he's like 100% fresh and ready to go. And I'm like, I know I saw you like last night somewhere else. So I know you've been working this kind of weird schedule, but to his credit, he does a fantastic job of showing up and like being present.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And like I said, it's like
Here's
it's
the
there
thing.
if you want it. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Here's the thing, Barry. We are getting ready to go into the dark times.
I know. Yes, the 2-week period.
Yeah, October was hell month for us because we just didn't expect it. I had no even awareness of which countries did and didn't change and when they did it, but now like we have to plan for it.
Yeah, it's difficult for anybody who is not sure what we're hinting at. Not only is daylight savings coming, but this dark time of 2 weeks where daylight savings in the US has started, but British summertime in the UK has not yet started. And I'm sure other time zone changes all over the world, like March and October are a web of doom. And I was prepared for this because I work in software for my day job, and there's a whole community of time zone like people who like it's like this old school like email listserv where people will like send information about like local governments updating their time zone rules, and you'll get like a digest once a month that says like, you know, this Latvia had decided not to do daylight savings this year. And it's one of those things that the internet, you know, that always wins. Like there's infinite complexity you can find on the internet if you are willing to look for it. It's very, very strange, but yes, check your workshop time zones, check your time zones, check your UTC, check your local time. World Time Clock is a great resource. .com. But yes, it's challenging for sure. And it's so great again, like, you know, the it's all there for the taking if you want to participate and to the level that you see fit. And it's a bit of a kind of a shift in topic, but, you know, one of the things that, you know, I think we're all been thinking about managing in the last year in all parts of our life is listening to our bodies. Like what is, you know, the appropriate amount of action and rest to, you know, just maintain over the last year. And it really brought into kind of focus for me and my wife, Kristen, who we talk about this a lot of times. She's another co-founder of Highwire Improv. Like the need to take breaks in improv. And there often being sometimes a culture of not wanting to take a break, right? If I take a month off from this team? Will they have me back, or will the artistic director remember that when I audition? And like, there can be some pretty difficult and toxic, dynamics in play. And I think this is true of a lot of theater disciplines as well. But being online and being in this space where everybody's a little bit overwhelmed, I think has brought those conversations up again. I'm curious if any of you have experienced that, or that, I know I've had a month during this where I've like, there's so much out there, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have scheduled that much.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot, I think, just because I have these sort of cycles where I'm doing really well, I'm doing really well, I'm doing really well, and then, oh shit, I'm overwhelmed. Like, and it'll happen. It was happening before I could like catch it. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to sort of identify what it was that I was doing too much or not enough of. And so it's been kind of like a learning curve over the past few months to be like, oh, you're pushing yourself a little bit too hard. Maybe we want to pull back a little bit. The allure of it being, of there being so much to do is really hard, especially for somebody like me who's an introvert, and I had a lot of trouble like going out and doing things, but now that like I don't have to put myself under the stress of like mentally preparing to leave the house, now I can be like, oh my God, I could do so many things. And then I was like, oh shit, I did too many things. Oh God. Yeah. So like just having like a network of people to talk to, like support is really good. So you can kind of check in about maybe where you are and sort of listen to yourself saying out loud that you're tired. That's helpful. Be like, oh yeah, I probably should chill. Yeah. Because all these people are your friends too. Like just because you're not doing improv together. I mean, at least from my perspective, that's kind of how it is for me.
Yeah.
Like, even if I wasn't improvising, I would still talk to George and I would still talk to Kale.
Yeah.
So it feels less like it's going to go away, I think, for me, just by virtue of the fact that I'm not having to go out and get it and then come back.
Yeah, I like that. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent that people know best where they should be. Like you know where your time needs to be spent, whether it's I need to focus on family or I want to focus on improv because it meets a need, it's cathartic or whatever. Or in my case, my job shifts and changes, and there's seasons where it pulls from me before more. And that's where I think part of the community of Queen City Comedy is. They got people that can kind of step in and fill in and keep things running so that people can take the break.
Yeah.
And especially now, I'm trying to be generous and understanding because a lot of people that just said at the beginning, this is not for me. I don't want to do this. And, over time have either come around and decided they want to. And I have to remember like what it was like for me when I first started to do this and how stressful. The first virtual show that I did was the most stressful show I'd ever done. Right. It was just so I'm like, why is this so, it's like the first time I ever stepped on stage.
Yeah.
And so remembering that for people that it is, what we take for granted now is people are just now getting to that point where they're ready to say, okay, I'm going to try this.
Yeah. And what is it like for the teams that have formed as part of the Global Improv Project? Like, what's the structure of that are they self-organizing in terms of how much rehearsal they do and how shows work, or because it's a wide group of people across a lot of different time zones. What's worked, what's maybe been adjusted over the last year as you've explored managing something like that?
Yeah.
For Ridgely, we usually have rehearsals every week on a weekend. And then we have a monthly show.
Yeah.
So for the time, our coach Carla ensures that the time that we pick is comfortable for everybody.
Okay.
So it could be morning for me, but evening for some folks. But it's not the wee hours.
Right.
So we're pretty good on that, on finding that sweet spot in terms of time. And we do try to see what kind of long form, because our team is long form. So we try to experiment. Oh, what do we do? What do we do for the next show? We've tried the living room. We've tried La Ronde. So we try to do different things every month, so that our experience is is wider. It becomes wider.
Yeah, I really like that. The idea that it allows you to maybe move through things more quickly than you otherwise would as well. I think a lot of people I've heard say learning a form online has been easier than in person, which is interesting. For everyone except the four of us who can't see our chat, Brenna was mentioning to me that she heard saxophone, and
So sorry.
no, it's okay. No, it's great because it's the Zoom life, because it's we talked about this a little bit on Monday too, but like the newfound empathy we have for people and their environments, I think is really interesting. So there is a saxophone sound because my wife, who lives in the same house as me, is doing an online Zoom class that she's teaching, and this is like the intro music before the class starts, and it's just so funny that everyone's coming from a different place. Like I've been so impressed is not a strong enough word, but I've seen several people doing improv from a non-driving car during this.
I've seen driving.
I've seen driving as a passenger. I have not seen anybody do a show while they were driving.
Yeah,
thankfully. But I saw there was we do a kids show. Jonathan Monroe produces here at Highwire once a month, and there were two kids on an iPad in the back seat of their car. And it's 11-year-old kids doing an online show together from the back seat of an SUV. I was just like, if that is not improv spirit, then what is?
I just wrote down an idea for a new show, Barry. And if you want Highwire and
a little collaboration,
it's all car prov. It's people driving and doing scenes while.
I want to make sure that our insurance company is aware that we will be making an update to our policy in light of this information. But there's so many creative things that have come out of it, right? That you could do, and I could see going into a big movie parking lot, movie theater parking lot, and driving around and doing a scene. It'd be great for like a car chase, a very slow car chase.
Edit.
No, that's it, right? Yeah, it's actually 6 cars, and you have to drive across the other 5 to edit the scene.
Like demo derby with improv.
I'm about to end.
But right, and it's just that improv spirit that for people who have really embraced it and have taken the leap into this. That is really exciting to see. I'm curious, what have each of you seen as kind of some of the more unique applications of the online world, whether that's bringing in people from different places or how people have used Zoom or similar? Anything particularly exciting come to mind?
Yeah, we had a 10th anniversary for one of the teams I perform with now, the Foxes, and so we had 4 days of shows over for our 10th anniversary.
Wow.
And we had players that had moved away, but came back and played. So we had players from Australia and from LA and Virginia that were all able to kind of just come back and be fully involved. And even just the fact that we did, with one team, 4 shows in a row, that would have been tough to do.
Yeah.
In the before times as well.
Yeah.
Because you gotta drive into downtown, you gotta park, it's a whole commitment. It's much easier to be able to do it this way. And then I just left a rehearsal with a team where we were trying out a new game that you could really only do virtually. So there's a ton of fun short form that people have figured out. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of that as well.
Yeah. Zoom lends itself really well to coming up with improv games or like adapting improv games for sure.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some creative stuff with that, and like I don't think anybody at Zoom knows about improv, but they keep making improvements that are helping us. And I get excited when I see Zoom release notes, which is not a thing I thought I would ever be excited about. But it's like you can now arrange the pictures in gallery view. It's like, yes, I can pass something to somebody reliably.
Yeah. I love the inclusion of snap camera into Zoom. I think that's really fun because I think for a little while there was sort of like this like a little bit of a debate, like costumes, no props, no props, only object work. And it's like, okay, yeah, but now there's snap camera. So if I endow you as a Viking, now you can be a freaking Viking. And that's really funny. Like visual comedy, like there's stuff you can do visually with Zoom that is just like, mwah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it's really kind of pulled the curtain back from like this very improv purity mindset of there's a certain way things are done, and there's no good reason to do object work over having props. Like maybe a particular show has a good reason, and you've talked about it, but it's not better than not doing it that way. And I think Zoom has kind of cracked that for some people.
I think the rule that I always used on stage was invention or discovery, not invention. Right? And the same thing applies to the filters and everything else. So I've got, a pair of ears that are by my desk. So if organically that comes up in a scene, great. If I'm looking for an opportunity to do my ears.
Oh no, I'm going to be left out.
You got them? You got some, George?
I need to stand up, but I still have my job.
Eyes and ears.
Yes.
It's just amazing. We now have 1.5 glasses per panelist. The average number of glasses. It's just amazing to see kind of, and the connection that we're forming, right? If you have, there's so many more people you can connect to. If you have, this idea that you want to do a full costume show of 18th century dramas, it might be hard to find 6 people in even a big city who are interested in doing that. But finding 6 people online who want to do that is way more possible. And I think that's going to really open up improv and even like improv adjacent things for folks. One of the things that I've really been excited about is on Highwire is we have an improvised game show. And it's like a real game show and like with real money and like real questions, but there's also an improvised aspect of the hosting and the questions. It's run by Corey Anatata, who does some of our graphics and tech stuff as well. And I think people are starting to open up to that too. Like, this idea that, it doesn't have to be, heralds and pretty flowers and mono scenes. There's, all of these other forms of entertainment that work really, really well on Zoom that improvisers are probably really good at. I'm hoping to see more of that as we move forward.
And I think with this Zoom thing, this technology that we're on, it's also inspiring a lot of people to do some original stuff. I mean, improv original stuff via Zoom. For example, I'm in a team now with the nursery, and it's called the Improv News Hour. So since we have with us, the people there thought that it would be good to have a news show format, newscast show format using Zoom. Yeah. So we're now doing that, and we have a couple of dates more to go.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about like what that is and maybe why it maybe couldn't have happened in person.
Yeah, it's the format is like there's an anchor and as the show goes on, they get prompts on the spot and then they try to deliver the news.
That's awesome.
On the spot, and then when the weatherman comes, a few seconds before, the prompt will appear on the teleprompter, and then that person will have to do a weather based on that prompt. And then there's
Wow.
based on a new prompt as well. So the entire news is just being improvised for 30 minutes.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's amazing like what new stuff has come out from this. I'm really excited about that, and I hope that continues. Yeah, please go ahead, Brenna.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm on a team that formed entirely online called Don't Mess, and our forum is also something that came from being on Zoom. It's a format that's just a Zoom meeting. We ask for what is the reason that a bunch of people would be having a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
And then we kind of develop why we would do. Sometimes we combine some of the suggestions. Sometimes they're just so good we can't help it. And then we kind of go away and we all rename ourselves and we start improvising the meeting.
Yeah.
And then we'll find reasons to go into breakout rooms and we'll do voiceover. Breakout rooms are closing in 5, 4, 3. So it's this really cool thing where it's like we all know how Zoom works, but then we're using that to sort of like build tension and create the shape of the show and all that stuff. It's really cool.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's been really cool to see people use the features of Zoom too. Like I've seen a show that actually sent people into breakout. It was not a stream show. It was like everybody has to be in the Zoom, but they were able to go through multiple breakout rooms to have kind of almost like an immersive theater experience.
Yeah.
Which is really neat.
Very cool.
Yeah. I guess I'm curious. You know, one of the other things that's been really encouraging about all of this stuff happening online is the bar being or kind of how we take care of each other, especially as more and more people who don't know each other welcome.
I think Barry hopped into the future and he'll be back in a few seconds.
He'll be back soon. Hopefully.
Am I traveling?
Yeah.
Do you have lottery numbers for us?
I do. But I only have losing numbers. But I guess you could deduce the winning numbers from my very long list of losing numbers. Have I returned? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I was just curious what people have seen as improvements in terms of kind of setting up safe spaces, setting up environments that are conducive to people feeling comfortable. One of the things we've been doing is before all our weekly jams, doing a introduction, pronoun discussion, and boundary discussion. And I'm encouraged to see that becoming like, I won't go so far to say it's becoming the standard, but it's becoming
we're normalizing it.
More normalized. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But I'm curious if you've seen that change and improve as well over the past year. Anything specific that you think has been effective with that?
I think being not afraid to do those things right from the outset is really, really important. I host an LGBTQIA plus jam, and one of the things that I wanted to make sure of was creating and curating a comfortable space for everyone, because it's already, we're already part of a group of people that don't always have their boundaries respected, especially in comedy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times in the before times, it was kind of like, F how you feel about that. We can talk about it later. If you don't like something, you can walk off the stage. I've had a lot of problems with that. And I was very vocal about that, like a lot, especially in the beginning of the pandemic, because that's when I saw it start to change. And I saw other people leading by example. I saw the reason why I stay with Queen City Comedy is because their example is a standard that I feel comfortable setting myself to, because it is so much higher. There is this concept of people have boundaries, people have things that they don't want to talk about or do improv about, and we're going to respect that. And I had not seen that attitude reflected professionally to me in the before times.
Yeah.
So it's something that I really picked up on and held on to, and then working with other people or coming across them, taking their workshops like David Escobedo or Stephen Davidson or Monica Gaga, these people who have those experiences and now everything being online has kind of like increased and amplified these voices of,
Yeah.
look, this is what we need to feel comfortable and to do good improv. I have a quote that I've posted before. It's like, people will tell you that you can't have a safe space to do good improv or to do real improv, and maybe we shouldn't improvise with those people anymore.
Mhm.
It's not, I feel like it's a really antiquated way of looking at curating a space. So I think, yeah, just be super upfront and be like, what are we going to talk about? What shouldn't we talk about? And also keeping the space open the entire time in case something does come up. There's always that option to be like, oh, wait, I didn't realize that might come up. Can we take a pause?
Yeah.
Simple as that. And that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I would say I've definitely seen exactly what you said, Barry. And part of it maybe is part of a cultural moment, and maybe because people have forced to take a pause, maybe we're reflecting more. Who knows what's going on? But I think specifically the improv world and Queen City Comedy, I think it's kind of two things. One, we were opening up to a global audience. And one of the things that I know I was concerned about it is this is different cultures that I'm ignorant of. I don't know what the norms are. And so, but what I found is we really gravitated and focused on the things that are universal, especially that have to do with improv. And I think that's helped a lot of that in those discussions, as well as also overtly saying those things, right? So maybe some things that I would have taken for granted in the before times, because I'm dealing with people from different theaters, different cultures, different everything, that were saying overtly what our stance is and what things are before. The second thing, though, is exactly what we were saying before, that you got so many more options and access to so much more. So I can see what others are doing.
Yeah.
And that's actually how we got connected. We just did a festival called the Everybody Get In Here Festival.
Yeah.
And we were doing some events around inclusion and equity. And I talked to Carl and I said, there's other groups that are doing great work. So instead of us feeling like we got to do our thing, why don't we just see how we can support those other things? And that's what led to that discussion, which eventually became these 8 theaters doing a festival together. So we have access to best practices in all these other places and are able to put those in place, and it makes us better, I think.
Yeah.
I appreciate. Sorry.
No, please. I was just agreeing.
I appreciate it when I attend jams or classes or workshops that have reminders in the beginning about be conscious about this and that, be sensitive to other people, because that reminds everybody, hey, it's a safe space, so everybody should be sensitive to what they say, in terms of not stepping into other people's boundaries.
Yeah.
There are sessions that I've attended where specifically also about accents that used to sort of a mockery of other countries. But if it's used as a character, then that's okay, or as part of a character. I also attend the Improv as a Second Language jams, ISL, with Marie and Claude Lepee. So in terms of culture, differences in culture, that's also a good theme that encourages people to talk. And sometimes if you don't find the right words in English, it's okay for you to say it in your own word, in your own. People will get it as long as you put emotions in it, the other physicalities there. So those are the things that I appreciate when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's really great, and I think what I'm hearing from everyone, and what I'm hearing kind of across the board from when I talk to people is the fact that we are bringing these things up regularly, repeatedly, out loud, and that's a signal to people about the type of place you're going into. And I really like what you said, Brenna, is that kind of, I'm paraphrasing, but using, people's reaction to that as a filter, right? If you think we can't have a safe space and do improv, then thank you for telling me that. You can go do that somewhere else, and that works out well for us. And you don't get that if you don't say what your stance is.
I have a short story. This is in
Yeah.
4 times, but a team that I coached, and it was a fairly new team, and I gave them the speech, we should check in with each other, talk about what we're okay with and what our boundaries are. It's okay if they shift from week to week too, but we should have that discussion. And these folks were all like, "Oh, I'm good with anything. I don't have any boundaries." And then the very first scene, this one young woman gave a guy a purple nurple. I don't know if that translates everywhere, but it's not pleasant. And then immediately after that scene, everybody said, "Oh, I just realized I do have a boundary. I do." So I tell that story all the time because, one, we have to kind of get past that feeling like, hey, anything goes, and recognize that even if we're not aware of them, we have boundaries, and everybody has boundaries that are different based on their personal situation.
Well, also on the other side of that coin, not to be afraid to speak up about your boundaries too, because I think a lot of the time, especially in the before times, I would be like, I think I'm just going to swallow this one because no one's going to listen to me. And that sucks when it happens over and over and over again, or you're seeing it happen to somebody else over and over and over again. You're like, eh! So this cuts down on that too.
Right. And that normalization of both the rest of the group going through and setting their boundaries, as well as kind of that moment where you all agree, yes, we're going to adhere to these boundaries, over time that kind of prevents that from happening, which is really good. It takes time, right? And I think that's what we see kind of that movement in the improv community towards, which is really great. And one of the things we've been doing at our jams to help people kind of get comfortable with that is, even though we're in online space, we've been having people start with any physical boundaries that they have, even though they're not going to be really addressed necessarily, in most cases. But it's kind of a lesson let their guard down, to say, I wouldn't like anybody to hop on my shoulders. And that can just kind of open up, like, oh, I can say this, I can, and then I can get to the real thing. But also realizing too that, even physical boundaries may come into play in online improv if you have people who are doing all of their improv seated, or can't leave their space to go walk around or something like that. Getting that out front prevents issues, and it's just been a little bit of an easier inroad to that conversation for people who aren't used to it before.
I use ouch, oops as a quick way that if somebody crosses a line, all you really have to say is ouch.
Yeah.
That's the signal that says you cross the line. And then you don't need to like explain yourself or apologize, just say oops, and then move on with the singing. And then if we need to talk about it later, then we can. Or if it's significant enough, people have the option, obviously, of just stepping away completely.
Right.
But for me, and we haven't really had to use it that much, but just letting people know you've got the freedom to just say
it's there.
ouch. You don't have to explain why or what or anything. You don't have to go into your backstory about why it was important to you, but just ouch, and that's all you got to say, and oops, and that's all you got to say, and we're good.
Yeah. It's really encouraging, and it's encouraging too to see, maybe there's some selection bias, but everyone I've talked to recently over the last 9 to 12 months has kind of been on that same page and has been moving in that direction. And that's what we would hope for, to become the universal and become the normalized standard, which is great across a lot of things. So awesome. Coming up on about an hour here. I would love to, I know it feels, again, time has no meaning any longer. And several of us have time traveled during this hour. So, but I would love to close just with some information about where folks can find out the work that you're doing. And also, as we've been trying to do on all these, some shout outs to other people that you think are doing good work in this improv world that we should talk to in the future, or that people should follow and learn more about. So let's go in the same order as last time. I'll start with you, Brenna.
Let's see. So we have a kids improv class starting
Yes.
with Queen City Comedy this Sunday, the 7th. It will be at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 12
Mhm.
p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. GMT, and then 16 hours from George. So whatever the hell that is, 9 p.m. or something like that. No, that's 12. 3 a.m. Oh, that's bad. That's bad for the children. Sorry. Anyway, so we're doing that. I also direct a show called Disaster Time, which
Oh,
will
yeah.
be on in about an hour and a half. So y'all can go check that out. Unless
Awesome.
Highwire is running something, then stay with them.
Either way is
Stay
fine.
with them.
Either way is fine. Which are our wonderful online platforms is that on?
It's on Twitch. It'll be
Twitch,
on the
great.
Twitch Pack Theater channel on Twitch.
Awesome.
What else? I'm judging in the March Madness
Yes.
for Highwire and Socially Distant this month. So I'm
Yes.
excited about that. That's super fun on Saturdays. So I'll
Awesome.
be there. Woohoo!
Yes, we were absurd enough to sign up for 31 consecutive days of 9 to 11 Eastern. So, yeah, check that on Facebook. Yeah.
Delightful. And I would like to shout out
Please.
let's see, I've been going to a lot of inner city improv / a lot more better improv
Yes.
jams. They're delightful, especially the once in a blue humor jam where you can just be dirty AF. That's super fun.
Yeah. I've heard really good things about that. I need to make it to one of those.
Elise Iovino and Mike Wachowski.
Yeah.
They are awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Kale, how about you? Where can people find what you're doing, and who do you want to shout out?
Queen City Comedy on Facebook, on Instagram, on Eventbrite. All of our workshops, classes, and shows are on Eventbrite. So that's probably the easiest way to find. I encourage people to sign their kid up for Brenna's class. That's a lot of fun. We've got the first ever global 3-on-3 improv tournament. So that starts this weekend, and I'm very excited about that. We got a lot of great teams.
Yeah.
And, that should be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And I'm really excited about the class that we're doing with Paul Valancourt, which is open now. So he's done a lot with the movie, but this is a narrative audio only form that he'll be teaching the class. So it's completely narrative, similar to the movie, but audio only so it'll be somewhat like The Bat.
Very cool.
And I'm hoping that it works out well, because I think it has the potential of being, living on like as a podcast. Or something that would be super cool to be a part of. I love the second city jams, but also the inner city. I was going to give them a shout out.
Oh, yes. You have a mask. Yes.
With the mask.
Very nice.
Yeah, they do great work. It's always a lot of fun, very welcoming. It's a great environment.
Awesome.
You, Mike, look at that.
Excellent. All right. And last but not least, George, where can people find you, and who else should we talk to?
Well, people can usually find me hanging out at Queen City Comedy.
Yes.
The 3-on-3 coming up this March. Every Saturday, so I'll be there as well. And
nice.
Aside from that, I'll be at the News Hour show, the Improv Hour show at the Nursery. And we will also have a new show with a new ensemble come March under Katie Shoot. And what else? I'll be also with the, what's that, Brenna? 1+1 with Nuatan Kibas. You'll be there too with Carla,
nice. Right? Yeah. Nuatan Kibas is also doing a 2-on-2 tournament.
1+1.
Yeah, 1+1. So, but it's me and Carla versus somebody else who's a 2-person team. So
cool. That's 2.
The team is one. The team is one. No, you're right. Okay.
Awesome.
And also, aside from that, Creature Show by Dogface Improv. We're taking a break for March, but we'll be back sometime in April.
Cool.
And I want to give a shout out to all the people that are doing duo 10-minute scenes.
Yes.
Like Rana is amazing at that. Jay Suko,
Mhm.
I really enjoy watching the Jay Suko's videos. I feel that he really supports his scene partner.
Yeah.
And also Ari
Yeah.
from Indonesia, Oslo. There are a lot of them, Christian Winter. So I really enjoy watching them, and I also enjoy being able to have that opportunity to collaborate with them. So shout out to all those ones.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those have been so great because it's just so many, right? There's just it's just so many opportunities for folks and getting to see different people and have conversations and scenes has been really, really great. Well, awesome. Thank you all so much. This has been a real pleasure. Come back, see things like this and meet more people. And maybe you can time travel too. We might put a workshop up on that. I'm pretty sure it's happening right now.
I love it.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, and have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. And we'll see you here sometime soon.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Barry.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Wire.
Bye, Brenna. Bye, George.